Welcome to the Temporary Insanity Podcast. Here are your hosts, Joshua Lewis Pereira, William McCoy, and C.L. Tansey.
Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Temporary Insanity. I'm your host, Joshua Lewis Pereira, and we're back again with Mr. William McCoy and Miss Sierra Tansey in what seems to be quickly becoming our new recording spot and studio, William's dining room table.
It works for me. It works for me.
For another episode of our favorite Friday delight. Hopefully it's turning into your favorite Friday afternoon special as we talk today about our titans of industry and how they like to burn through their money. Mm-hmm. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Good.
Oh, all right.
I'm eating goldfish.
Goldfish, please sponsor us.
Please. I eat so many bags of goldfish.
So in today's episode, we figured we'd have a little bit of fun with,
If you're a millionaire or a billionaire, I suggest clicking off now.
We're coming at you guys hard this episode. I'm sorry.
Well, it's just that, like, so we've talked about money in a few different ways over these past 20 plus episodes that we've been doing. I mean, we've come at it from like the financial responsibility and from like the different things like that, but let's just call it, and I'm trying to be sensitive as to how I say this, but you'll be acting up. I mean,
Put it lightly.
I mean, so this week we just want to have a little bit of fun with it because I mean, as we look at and we'll be respectful on certain topics of today's discussion. I mean, because some of it is a little bit dark, but I mean, some of you rich people, man. I mean, the way you blow through your cash is just unbelievable.
It must be because when multi-millionaires and billionaires get bored, they start doing questionably dumb things with their money just because. Or things that aren't necessarily need to be done, but because you have $1 billion, you can do it.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where you have a lot of money, you don't really have anything to work for anymore. No. So, like, obviously, like us, we're working every day to get money to live. But these guys are like, I already got it. Let's do something with it.
Well, let's start off with calling it what it is. I mean, it's being a millionaire nowadays is not really, I mean, being a millionaire is not what it was. I mean, I'd love to be a millionaire. I'll take it. But, I mean, realistically, we're talking about like billionaires now. Yeah. I mean, because $1 million now doesn't get you nearly as far as it used to. I mean, you can't really buy much for $1 million anymore, and that's
sad.
Yeah, it's scary to fathom that thought. I mean, really think about what I just said.
You can buy like 3 cars.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you buy a house and a fancy car.
Maybe a house. Like you could, like depending on what you're looking at. People like maybe a house, Josh. But yeah, let's think about it. I mean, like in the Northeast here. I mean,
my favorite thing to do is to go on Zillow and look at houses I can't afford.
It's not hard though now, right?
It's really not.
Think about it. Like you're looking at houses in the Northeast here. I mean, it's not hard to spend $500,000. So you win the lottery, you win $1 million, and then Uncle Sam takes like 40% of that, and then and then you buy a $500,000 house, which is a pretty nice house.
You're gonna buy $100,000+ car.
How hard is that to do though? Like
easy.
You could just a simple pickup truck nowadays is like like a nice pickup truck nowadays is $60,000+.
Look at the new Jeep Grand Cherokees, like the new models they did. They're all over $100,000.
Right.
Which is ridiculous for a vehicle.
Right. So, I mean, to get anything worthwhile, I mean, you're spending money. I mean, you can't buy anything for cheap money anymore. I mean, the very fact that you walk into a grocery store, and we've said this, well, like, I don't know, probably like 12 episodes ago now when we were talking about, like, inflation and stuff like that. But, like, you're buying a carton of eggs for a crazy amount of dollars. So, I mean, if you can't even buy the simple staples to keep your home afloat for cheap money, think about the things that you want when you just want to have fun, right? Like, so you want to buy a car, or you want to buy something of a little bit of a luxury value. I mean, it's going to cost you money. So when we're talking about certain things, and the reason we're talking about this to start off the episode is because I want to put things into perspective. You know, it's kind of like when you're taking a picture of something, right? Like we went to the museum. Remember not too long ago, we went to the Museum of Science there in Boston.
Yep.
And I want to, you know, my son and then my nephew, which is both your nephews, are obsessed with dinosaurs, right? So we saw the dinosaur exhibit, and I wanted to take a picture of a footprint of a T-Rex. And in order for them to get the grand effect of this T-Rex footprint, I had Nancy put her foot inside of that footprint, which, you know, was kind of a no-no, but, you know, we're not going to...
That's fine.
No one's going to snitch us out here.
We're fine.
But that's the only way that in the picture would make sense of how big that footprint was. Like, because if I just took a picture of this footprint, because they weren't there, they would have never realized how big this footprint is. So I'm just trying to lay out the groundwork so that y'all could understand what we're talking about when we start talking about this lavishness of these industry titans who decide to do things that are kind of out of this world. Literally, no pun intended, because we're going to be talking about some rockets and stuff like that. But I mean, the amount of insanity that goes on here when it comes to money, and then the other thing that comes to it is the and this is the other side of the coin, is the craziness that people will put themselves through, admiring the fact or being envious of the fact that people are able to do that. I mean, you know, when you talk to people nowadays, you know, their dreams and their desires is to become those, you know, billionaires, right? I mean, ask any kid. Like, you ask a kid nowadays, hey, what do you want to be? Or what do you want to do? Or what do you want to be when you grow up? You know, when I was a kid, it'd be like, oh, I want to be a police officer. I want to be a doctor. They all want to be what? Like, oh, I want to be an influencer. I want to be a TikTok star. I want to be...
Because it will make them a lot of money.
Because they want to have all the...
Not even. You don't even really make a lot of money on TikTok.
But they make you think that they do, because they're buying the mansions, even though they don't really own it. They're showing the cars, even though they're rented. But they makes it look like they got the lifestyle.
Listen, let me tell you something right now. I am sponsored. I am whatever you call it on social media. I have yet to see actual money from this blue dot that they placed over my face.
It's because you need to get, because like the monetization of it doesn't really get you money. It's the sponsors from the monetization.
Whatever.
So you
man.
need to get sponsored by like Bloom or something.
All I'm saying is I had a stroke one morning. I woke up one morning and all my friends were gone. And I called somebody. And I was like, I lost all my friends. You know, I had like thousands of friends. And then my sister had to inform me that I was no longer a regular person on the social media, and she had to inform me that I was now whatever it is that she said it was, and now I had followers instead of friends, and I was just like, wait a second, I did not ask for this.
I think the people that were your friends before you got monetized are still technically your friends, but
That's called followers.
Yeah, but I don't think you can have friends anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because you are now in influencer territory. So
I don't want to be an influencer. I have nothing to influence anybody
Influencing is a lonely job. You have friends no more.
I just want to have my little podcast. I want to be able to speak my mind and present the gospel. I want to be able to go and watch my memes on the Facebook and just mind my business. I'm not looking to be a tech billionaire here. I just want to have fun, you know?
Watch my memes.
Yeah, for some reason I've been on like this kick where Facebook's been flooding me with like all these shark memes. They're pretty funny. Like,
and you're watching them? Are they images?
They are images.
So you're reading them.
I'm fine.
He's viewing them.
I'm viewing them.
If they were like Vines or something.
Vine.
I've never had a Vine.
R.I.P.
The only Vine I've had is of the Portuguese persuasion. We had grapevines.
You never had Vine?
No.
Vine was kind of short-lived, though, honestly, for us, like a social media.
A few years.
It died out.
When did it die? 2012?
Around there.
Do you know what Vine is?
Nope.
It was TikTok before TikTok, basically.
Nope. I know what...
but you can only have 6-second videos.
I know what the Facebook is, the Instagram is. I know what the TikTok.
Vine was TikTok, but they were 6 seconds.
So you had to be intentionally funny in a short period of time.
They were like quips, like witty quips.
So I'm with my son, and my son, of course, being the age he is at 10 years old, lives on well, we took away the TikTok for a while. It was getting a little too crazy for him. but he lives on like YouTube and stuff like that. And so we're hanging out, and somebody asks him when he turns 16 which kind of vehicle he wants, and he thinks it's perfectly normal to respond with Lamborghini. I don't know what he thinks his father does for a living, but
we were actually having that conversation a little while back. I don't know when it was from this conversation that you had with him, but we were talking about cars. And I said, it was the same question. Like, what would you like for your first car? And I said, don't do any supercars. Like, let's be like realistic. And he said like a GTX. I'm like, dude, that's not a normal car. That's like
we're talking about
$80,000-$90,000 car.
We're talking like Toyota Corolla.
Yeah.
If he's lucky.
Those are kind of nice.
He's gonna, well, it's gonna be like hitting the Auto Trader and seeing like what's on. I mean, this kid. I told him, I says, Aiden, your dad, when he got his permit, paid $100 for a car that he was buying off of a buddy of his that was going into the Marine Corps. And then we spent about 14 months fixing the car. But like he looks at me like with a straight face, Dad, I want a Lamborghini. I'm like, that's good for you.
Gotta get a good job,
if
kid.
no one in your household is driving a Lamborghini, you will not get a Lamborghini for your first car.
He's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. Go talk to your grandfather. Maybe your grandfather will get you.
Even like the really old, rundown Lamborghinis.
I'll get him a Lamborghini, like a 1980 from the salvage yard.
You're gonna have like a little like what are those? What
Just
are
give
those?
him the logo and put it on the car.
What are those little toy cars?
Oh, the Matchbox cars.
He's
Yeah.
gonna get him like a Matchbox Lamborghini and put it on his actual car.
I'm gonna get. It's gonna show up. It's gonna show up in front of the house when you turn 16 without the engine in it, just
spare parts,
all rusted, And then he's like, oh, maybe like a nice pickup truck. I'm like, dude, you're gonna be 16. You're gonna have right up. Like we had old cars when we started, but we look at this, and this is what society has gotten us to aspire to. I mean, Let's be real. I mean, we've aspired to these things where we feel like it's perfectly normal to expect these outrageous, life goals. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to start this program on like a down note of saying like, oh, you can't get it. You can look. I believe wholeheartedly that anybody who works hard and puts in the time, I believe in living the dream. Like I think that anybody who works hard, rolls up their sleeves, can achieve anything. I wholeheartedly believe 1,000%. But I mean, these kids are coming up with this expectation, man, and then and our priorities are just really messed up. Like our priorities are all focused around this glamour. We've gone from focusing on our necessities to focusing on owning rocket ships. Like now it's like, hey, I want to go to the moon. I'm gonna pay $250,000 to get on. Bezos.
Something close to that. It was something ridiculous. Just to go to the atmosphere and come back.
I wouldn't want to go to space.
You would or you wouldn't?
I wouldn't.
Nah,
I'm good on ground. I'm good on surface level. Thanks.
Yeah. I'm cool. Like I'll go on an airplane. That's cool. Like I'm all about that life. I want to start this. Off by just making it very clear. And there's a verse that I'm going to start this program off with right off the rip, so that as we talk about these things, we can be very clear about where I stand on this. 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 10. All right, 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 10. It says, actually, let me go into the proper translation here on my laptop. For some reason I reverted back to the King James, which is very old school. It says, "For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows." Let me say this to you in simple English. I'm not saying that money is the root of all evil. So don't listen to me and be like, oh, he's turning into one of those extreme people that is like money. No. Money's cool. Everybody needs it. I need it. I need to pay my bills. I like to have nice things. I'm not saying that you shouldn't work hard and make it, and I'm not saying if you make a lot of it that you shouldn't use it and enjoy it. But the love of money, living your life in striving and making your whole purpose to make a filthy amount of it where nothing else matters and you like money above everything else, we're worshiping money, making money like your idol, making money your god. That's the root of all evil. And what's going to happen is if you do that, you're going to find out that your life is not going to have any real purpose. I've seen that as a pastor many times where that love of money costs you your family, it costs you your wife, your kids, it'll cost you your friends, it'll cost you your happiness, and it'll put you in a place where you are a very, very lonely person.
Let's put it in perspective again. The two most popular billionaires that we'll get into more as the program goes on, Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg, I'm pretty sure are both divorced. So they're billionaires, and they lost both their wives. So I mean, you can have it all, but at the end of the day, money can't buy you everything.
You can either have a money or a wife.
I mean, I'm
one
not
of
in
them
their
have a
personal life,
spaceship.
so.
I mean, or a rocket, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, both of them got rockets, I think, or at least one's building one. I don't know. It's too much.
But why, man? Why? I mean, it's like for real, dude.
Can
Like,
you say that you have a rocket?
I don't need a rocket. I have
Why would
everything
I want
right
to say
here.
a rocket?
We've seen
To say you have one, I don't know.
I don't know. Also, like, do something good with your money. If to all you billionaires that are listening, which I doubt any, but if you are listening, you want to make a contribution to this podcast, we'll take some of your money. Do something good with it. I'm sure a lot of you guys find reasons for tax write-offs and stuff like that, but bring some of that to the storehouse. As I know churches around the country are having a hard time keeping the doors open, so support your local churches. A lot of people after COVID decided to go virtual, and when they went virtual, they decided to stop sending in their contributions. I'm not trying to sound like churches are all about the money, but churches still have mortgages and stuff like that. So, the love of money is the root of all evil. Don't live for it. But let's get into some discussion today. What are we going to talk about, guys? So where do you guys want to start?
I think we should get the sad story out of the way first.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're going to go right there, huh?
I think we should start off with that.
Start off sad and end with a laugh? Is that what we're doing?
Yes, I think so.
Take it away. Who wants to start it off?
I'll do it.
Noses.
I'll do it. So, recent news, I'm sure you've heard. I know everyone's heard.
It's not really that recent anymore.
No, but I mean, they're still
But I feel
buzzing
we
around.
gave it a respectable amount of time.
Yes. And we are going to briefly talk about the submarine that went to go visit the Titanic. Very sad. We're not going to be disrespectful. People did lose their lives, which is very sad. But once you kind of hear the story and like the things going around it, you kind of like scratch your head and like, why were these people that have so much going for them, billionaires and young? I think one was like 19, young man, had a whole life ahead of him. Why would you get into what people are calling the soda can and going down to visit the Titanic? Because again, you got a billionaire and like buying a rocket. Why not? Right? Why not go visit the Titanic? People don't do that. You have the money and the resources to do it, so they did it. And I don't know if I would personally do that, even no matter how much money I had, because I'm not a big fan of underwater like that. Like I wouldn't get even like a military submarine. I think I'm good. But it kind of like it's like, again, you can have all the money in the world, but that doesn't really protect you from real life, right? I don't know who built the submarine. I don't know how it was built.
He was on it.
Yeah, he was on it. But I don't know like what materials were used. That's above my pay grade.
What I find most wild about the whole submarine thing is that it was literally having problems with a certain part of it. I don't remember which part was having issues, but it was having problems literally minutes before they put it underwater. And they still decided to put it underwater.
I mean, and that's a little ironic because that was like the same thing with the original Titanic, right? Weren't there like rumors of there being issues with the Titanic? But they're like, oh, no, it's fine. It's unsinkable. Nothing can happen to us. And something happened to the Titanic.
Here's where I'm going to start getting into, and call me what you will, say what you will, but quote unquote, let's go back to the Titanic to start off with. And y'all are starting to open up a whole can of worms here.
Don't even start.
I'm not going to go there yet, but you know it's going to end up there, all right?
I saw a meme about where you're going to
So
go
the
to. It's
Titanic,
so
because I think it's the context here, because the Titanic started this whole thing with the Titan, because that's what they were going to go look at.
True.
But the Titanic was supposed to be an unsinkable, where they even quoted what? not even God himself could sink this ship. Isn't that what they said? God himself. And I mean, it was taken out by an iceberg, all right?
To be fair, I feel like they could have seen the iceberg a lot in greater time
That's where the
than they
conspiracy
did.
come in.
Like
That's a
literally,
real rabbit
you mean to
hole.
tell me you did not see an iceberg big enough to sink this ship before you were inches next to it? Like you had time to turn that ship just a little bit.
The conspiracy theorists will say they knew exactly what they were doing.
Well, and then on the topic of what we're talking about today, I mean, who was on the Titanic?
A lot of rich people. I don't know if they were billionaires at the time, but definitely a lot of the richest people of the time.
Actually, I'm looking that up right now. I'm talking Titanic, because if I'm not mistaken, it was kind of the first of its class. So I mean, if I'm not mistaken, to be on the Titanic, you had to have a lot of money to burn through.
Do you guys see they're coming out with a Titanic 2?
Yeah.
A movie. I will not.
Were they
be
going to save Jack?
I will not.
I'm just
That would be
saying.
hilarious.
They're gonna
If
pull
it's
up his
just the-
frozen body.
Just
from
the
there.
exact same movie, just the ending scene is different. I'll watch it. For that, I'll sit through the whole,
I will not
whole
sit
movie.
through 3 hours. Of
I will.
Titanic.
Just for him
I
to be
can't
like,
do that.
just to save
I
him
did
at
it
the
once
end.
in my life. We'll never do it again. It's so
No,
bad.
I can't. I mean, I cannot. Listen, all I'm saying is the Titanic was said to be an unsinkable vessel. Man challenged the ocean, and they said not even God himself can sink this ship. Well, we all see how that ended up, right? Now, fast forward. A bunch of rich people got on the Titanic. They were all like, "Hey, we're gonna party like it's whatever," you know. And you know, I can't say 1999 because it was long before that. And and they partied until they hit that iceberg. The Titanic went down. And now, fast forward. Now you have this Titan that wants to go see this wreckage. First of all, from a few accounts, there were some issues, as you were saying. Second of all, like, man, why are you messing with it? There was already some bad juju around that Titanic. I mean,
That's very true.
I mean, let it be, man. Let
Part
it be.
of me is kind of pissed off that like this was even a thing that happened because if you think about it, the Titanic is a graveyard. Like if you dig around that area, you're gonna find bones and everything else under there, and like just let people rest in peace. Like stop going and trying to tamper with something that's like what, like respect the dead at this point.
Well, money gives you the freedom to explore, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure there's never been a voyage down to the Titanic. So this person, or people who had this idea, I'm sure were fascinated with the Titanic and wanted to be, one of the first people to go and see the Titanic sunken with their own eyes. Really just for the story, right? Because they're going to come up, take some pictures. They would have came up in theory and told all their friends what they did and the pictures that they saw and how awesome it was. So it's like, I feel like there's so much better things to do with your money. Because we kind of figured the people had to pay over $200,000 to get a seat in this submarine. You telling me you have your life is so set that you can basically just like, here, I have an extra $200,000. I'll go with you to look at a sunken ship.
All right, so here we go. The Titanic had a total of 2240 people sailed on the maiden voyage. It was broken up into 3 separate classes determined by the price of their ticket. Traveling in first class, most of them was the wealthiest passengers on board, included prominent members of the upper class, businessmen, politicians, high-ranking military personnel, industrialists, bankers, entertainers, socialites, and professional athletes. Then they had second class. Passengers were predominantly middle-class travelers and included professors, authors, clergymen, and tourists. Third class, or steerage passengers, were primarily immigrants moving to the United States and Canada. So I have to correct myself, all right? So basically, they had all the people that got to enjoy the cruise, and then they had third class, which were the people that were just trying to migrate to America. I wonder who got to the lifeboats first. Let's just put a pin in that there. But I'm just saying, so they had the who's who in first class. They had second class with people that kind of were like they're pretty well off. Third class, it looks like if you go online, you can kind of see it was like whatever, you know. So now, history, of course, tells us what happens, and like you're saying, the movie's coming out. I will never, ever, ever let Hollywood live down what they did to my boy on that movie. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Especially after y'all shared that meme with me. All right, y'all shared that. You should have known better than to share that meme with me, because I will forever live by the point that there was plenty of room on that plank for my boy Jack. Okay.
Yeah, but
Kate
Josh,
didn't have to do him like that.
both of their weight would have sunk.
I don't want to hear it. She said, "I will never let you go."
He was dead.
You know what? She should have held on to him, and she should have taken his body home so we could have a proper burial.
Facts.
I'm just saying.
Facts.
First of all, in the movie, as soon as she lets him go, the boat comes and saves her. You're telling me that they couldn't bring him back to life? He was in a hypothermic shock. They could have warmed him up. You ain't dead until you're warm and dead. That's what they say in emergency services. When you're cold and dead, there's still hope for you, man. There's still hope for you. My boy Jack was done dirty. They did him dirty, and that's all I got to say about that.
No, but by the time they would have gotten to them,